America for 40 years, 22 years in the U.S. Navy, and I'll want to share something with you real quick, and then 18 years with the Federal Bureau of Prisons. So he was a military man and first responder his entire career. So he survived all that and ended up later in life as a more of a peaceful man. But I wanted to share something with you. My dad entered the Navy January 17th, 1936, officially. I have all of his medical records. In case anybody here wants to revisit a family history, if you have a military family history, you know, most of us never talked about it. I had to get my dad's records to find out about it. He wouldn't talk about it. We knew about Pearl Harbor because that was a very public thing. We could not forget Pearl Harbor. But all the rest of it, 22 years of Navy life, is in this book. I ordered it when I was doing research on my book, and I cried for days reading it. I had no clue of what my dad experienced in World War II. He never talked about it. How many here have family members that never talk about, see, there you go. What happens? It gets all bottled up and it comes home for dinner. So we had World War II and the Korean War at the dinner table every day in our lives. We didn't like to go to dinner. But I wanted to, thing I want to share, and then I'll move on, is that we have been struggling for 7 decades at least trying to figure out what a diagnosis might be for events related to traumatic stress. Back then in the Navy, I'll read it to you quickly, right after the war, in the summer of 1945, my dad was diagnosed officially with battle fatigue. That's what we called it back then. And he had all the symptoms that we talk about in terms of trauma. The anxiety, the depression, the self-medication, the anger that might come out from that. We knew about it back then. We called it battle fatigue. But from that point forward, nothing ever happened with it until after the Vietnam War.